How many times have you been told that magnesium is the miracle pill for your energy, your sleep, even your performance in the bedroom? If you've been swallowing that advice for years, you may have been doing exactly the wrong thing at the exact wrong time. And the truth is that mistake could be costing you not just intimacy, but your confidence, your health, and even your future. I'm going to be direct with you. Magnesium does have its place. It can relax your muscles, it can calm your nerves, but when it comes to restoring firmness stamina and that powerful sense of manhood you thought was long gone, magnesium is not the answer. In fact, for some men, especially when taken at night, it can actually make things worse. It can blunt the very hormone rhythms your body depends on to rebuild testosterone and circulation while you sleep. That means you could be lying in bed every night thinking you're helping your health, while in reality, you're pushing your body further away from the very vitality you're desperate to reclaim. Now, here's the part that should give you real hope, because the truth is far simpler and far more powerful than you've been told. There are two nutrients, two simple, affordable vitamins that when taken at the right time can wake up your body's natural drive. They can support your hormones, restore your blood flow, and bring back the kind of reliable, lasting erections that so many men fear they'll never feel again. And no, this isn't hype, this isn't marketing, this is basic physiology. It's how your body was designed to work when you give it the right tools at the right time. I speak to you not as a salesman, but as a physician with more than 2 decades of experience helping men over 50 rebuild their strength and their confidence naturally. I may not be a man myself, but I have sat across from thousands who whispered the same frustrations, the awkward silence with their partner, the disappointment of pills that never delivered the quiet fear that this part of life is simply over. But I can tell you, with absolute certainty, it does not have to be over. Weakness in the bedroom is not just a private embarrassment. It is often the first warning sign of something deeper: dropping testosterone, slowing circulation, and accelerated aging. And unless you address it, the decline doesn't stop on its own, which is why in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what those two vitamins are, how they work inside your body, and why they succeed even when other solutions have failed. And before we dive into the science, I want you to ask yourself this: if 2 simple shifts at night could bring back the energy, the firmness, and the confidence you once had, would you really want to miss out on that knowledge? I need to tell you something that most men never hear directly, even in a doctor's office. When a man crosses his 40s, his body begins a slow but steady shift. Testosterone, the master hormone that fuels strength, energy, and desire, starts to decline by about 1% every single year. It doesn't sound like much at first, but think about it this way: by the time you're 60, you may have lost 20% or more of the very hormone that once made you feel unstoppable. By 70, the loss can climb closer to 1/3. Imagine trying to drive across the country with 1/3 less gas in your tank. Of course, you're going to stall, but hormones aren't the only piece of the puzzle. Deep inside your blood vessels, another silent change is happening. Nitric oxide, a natural chemical messenger, is what tells your arteries to expand, to let blood rush where it needs to go. Without nitric oxide, your arteries stay tight, your circulation weakens, and the flow to your most intimate areas slows to a trickle. One clinical study from the Journal of Urology found that nitric oxide levels in men over 60 can be less than half of what they were at age 30. That's why firmness feels weaker and why the recovery time between encounters takes longer. And then there's the nervous system, the third part of this hidden triangle. Your nerves are like electrical wires carrying signals from your brain to your body, but decades of stress, poor sleep, alcohol, and processed food act like static on those wires. The message doesn't travel the way it used to. That's why so many men tell me I can still get there, but it feels flat. The wiring is intact, but the signal is weak. Here's the truth most men don't want to face. A weak erection is not just a private bedroom frustration. It's often the first red flag of something deeper: poor circulation, declining hormones, and accelerated aging. Ignore it, and the consequences go far beyond intimacy. You're not just risking confidence in the bedroom, you're risking your heart, your brain, even your independence. I've seen men brush it off for years, only to face a heart attack later. Why? Because the blood vessels in the penis are some of the smallest in the body. When they start to clog, it's often the earliest warning sign that bigger arteries, like the ones in your heart, are next. So if you've noticed a difference, even a subtle one, I need you to understand it's not just in your head, and it's not just about age. It's your body sounding the alarm. And that brings me to the real question. If weakness isn't just about age, what actually holds the keys to restoring manhood? To answer that, we need to look at the 3 pillars of male vitality, the foundation every man depends on. When men come to me and whisper about their struggles, they often think it's just one thing. They'll say, "Doc, it must be my testosterone," or maybe it's just stress. But the truth is rarely that simple. Your body depends on a system, and that system has 3 essential pillars. Without them, no man, no matter how young or strong, can function at his best. The first pillar is circulation. Think of it like the plumbing in your house. If the pipes are clogged or the pressure is weak, water doesn't flow. The same is true for your body. Erections are 70% blood flow, and unless your arteries can widen on command, firmness will always be unreliable. Nitric oxide is the messenger that flips the switch, telling your arteries to relax and let blood surge in. But studies show nitric oxide levels drop sharply with age. By your 60s. They can be less than half of what they were in your 20s. Without it, you're left with low pressure in the very system that depends on high pressure to perform. The second pillar is hormones. Testosterone isn't just a sex hormone, it's the fuel in your tank. It drives your muscle strength, your confidence, your energy, even your mood. Low testosterone doesn't just flatten desire, it flattens your entire quality of life. And yes, it naturally drops about 1% every year after 40. That means by 65, many men are running on fumes. You wouldn't expect your car to climb a steep hill with no gas yet. So many men expect their bodies to perform without enough testosterone to drive the system. The third pillar is nerves. These are the electrical wires that connect your brain to your body. They tell your muscles when to contract, they tell blood vessels when to open, and they deliver the sensation that makes intimacy feel powerful. But here's the catch: years of stress, poor sleep, alcohol, and nutrient deficiencies fray those wires. The message gets fuzzy. Instead of a strong, clear signal, you get static, and pleasure feels duller, weaker, less satisfying. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because these 3 pillars, circulation, hormones, and nerves, work together like the 3 legs of a stool. If even one leg breaks, the stool tips over. That's exactly why so many men feel frustrated. They focus on just one piece, maybe trying testosterone shots or circulation pills while ignoring the others, but you can't balance a stool on one leg. And here's the good news. When you strengthen all 3 pillars, your body doesn't just perform, it thrives. Erections feel firmer, energy returns, mood lifts, and life feels more alive. But here's the twist. Most men are chasing the wrong fix. They're told magnesium is the answer. In reality, magnesium doesn't restore these pillars at all. The real solution lies in two overlooked nutrients that actually repair the system from the ground up. Let me show you why magnesium fails and why vitamin D3 and zinc succeed where it never could. For years, I watched as men walked into my office holding bottles of magnesium, convinced they had found the magic pill. Doc, I heard this helps with sleep energy and performance. And yes, magnesium has its place. It can calm your muscles, ease your nerves, and help some men drift into sleep. But here's the hard truth. No one wants to say out loud, magnesium does not restore testosterone. It does not wake up circulation in your pelvis, and it does not fix the signals your nerves are struggling to send. In fact, for some men, especially when taken at night, magnesium can make things worse. Here's why your body relies on rhythmic hormone pulses while you sleep to repair testosterone and circulation. Magnesium relaxes the nervous system so deeply that those signals get muted. Instead of waking up restored, you wake up even flatter. I have seen men spend months chasing results with magnesium only to sit across from me frustrated. Why isn't anything changing? This is where I introduce them to a different story, one that doesn't get enough attention. Even though the science is clear, vitamin D3 is not just a vitamin, it behaves like a hormone. It locks into specific receptors that control testosterone production. Without vitamin D3, your body's signal to produce testosterone is like a key that doesn't fit the lock. Nothing happens. Research has shown that men with low vitamin D levels often report fatigue, muscle loss, belly fat, and yes, weak erections. When D3 levels are restored, the hormone engine finally turns over. And then there's zinc, the silent partner. Zinc is the ignition switch. Your brain sends out a command called luteinizing hormone telling your testes to make testosterone. But without enough zinc, that signal never converts into action. Imagine turning the key in your car, but there's no fuel in the tank. Nothing fires. That's what a zinc deficiency does to your manhood. Now, here's what excites me most. When vitamin D3 and zinc are combined, they create the spark and the fuel. D3 primes the receptors, zinc delivers the ignition. Together, they bring back the very rhythms your body has been missing. And unlike magnesium, which simply relaxes these two nutrients, actually rebuild the system at its foundation, circulation, hormones, and nerves, this isn't theory. It's physiology. It's the way your body was designed to work when it finally has the right tools. But I know what you're thinking. Does this really work for real men in the real world? Let me share the stories of 3 patients who went from years of frustration to reclaiming their vitality thanks to this simple nighttime protocol. I'll never forget the look on Richard's face. He was 74 when he first came to see me, his voice low, his shoulders heavy. Doctor, I haven't had a full firm erection in over 3 years. I think I'm finished. He had tried medications, but the side effects, headaches, flushing, even heart palpitations, left him feeling worse than before. When we checked his blood work, his vitamin D levels were in the basement and his zinc was nearly gone. I gave him one simple routine take, vitamin D3 with dinner, take zinc 2 hours before bed, nothing else. 6 weeks later, he walked into my office with tears in his eyes. It worked, he whispered. I wake up with firmness again. I thought that part of my life was over. His energy was brighter, his mood lighter, and his marriage, his words not mine, was healing. Then there was Michael, 68. He told me, Doc, I just don't feel like a man anymore. His energy was drained, his erections unreliable, his mood flat. Within 3 weeks on the nighttime protocol, he called my office almost breathless. I feel like my body is mine again. His wife later teased him, "What got into you?" And for the first time in years, he smiled when he repeated her words to me. And then there was James, 72. He sat down in my office, discouraged, ashamed, saying he hadn't felt a true morning erection in over a decade. Pills had left him with headaches and nausea, not intimacy. But 4 weeks after starting the same simple protocol, James returned, eyes wide with disbelief. Doctor, I woke up and couldn't believe it. It felt like being 40 again. His wife pulled me aside, later tears in her eyes, and said quietly, "You gave me my husband back." I share these stories not because they're rare, but because they're common once men correct the silent deficiencies that drain vitality. What looks like decline is often just a body missing the right tools. When you restore vitamin D3 and zinc, the system wakes up. But here's the tragedy: many men never see these results. Not because the vitamins don't work, but because they make 3 critical mistakes at night that quietly cancel out all their progress. Let's talk about those mistakes so you don't waste weeks or months wondering why nothing's changing. I wish I could tell you that every man who tries this protocol gets the same results as Richard Michael or James. But the truth is, some men walk back into my office weeks later, frustrated, saying, "Doctor, I don't feel any different." When I ask them to walk me through their nightly routine, I almost always find the same 3 mistakes. And unless you avoid them, you could be canceling out your progress without even knowing it. The first mistake is taking vitamin C at night. Don't get me wrong, vitamin C is excellent. It boosts immunity, it fights oxidative stress, it supports healing, but timing matters. Vitamin C taken in the morning is powerful. At night, however, it interferes with your body's natural testosterone rhythm and can even make it harder to fall into deep restorative sleep. I've had men proudly tell me I take my vitamin C before bed right along with my other supplements, and then they wonder why their energy and firmness never improve. The second mistake is taking B-complex vitamins at night. This one shocks a lot of people. B vitamins are marketed as energy boosters, and that's exactly the problem. They rev up your nervous system when your body should be winding down. Imagine hitting the gas pedal while trying to park your car in the garage. That's what happens inside your nervous system. You push yourself into overdrive when you should be shifting into repair mode. The result? Restless nights, poor hormone pulses, and weaker results. The third mistake is hidden caffeine. And yes, it's more common than you think. So many fat burners, pre-workouts, and even some so-called men's vitality blend sneak caffeine into their formulas. One man in his late 60s told me he was taking a supplement called Night Shred because the label promised better sleep and recovery. He had no idea it contained stimulants. His sleep was wrecked, his hormones were flat, and his energy was shot. Once he cut it out, his progress finally started. The bottom line is, this timing is not optional. You could be taking the right nutrients, but if you add the wrong ones at the wrong time, it's like trying to row a boat while drilling holes in the bottom. You're working against yourself. So how do you get it right? How do you make sure vitamin D3 and zinc actually work the way they're supposed to? Let me walk you through the exact step-by-step nighttime protocol I give to my patients, the same one that has restored confidence and vitality for men in their 50s, 60s, even 80s. Now, let me give you the exact roadmap I share with my patients, because without clear steps, all this information is just theory. And theory doesn't change. Lives action does. Here's how the nighttime protocol works. Step 1, with your evening meal, take vitamin D3. Not in the morning, not at random, but with dinner. Why? Because vitamin D3 is fat soluble. That means your body only absorbs it when you pair it with healthy fats. Salmon, avocado, olive oil. Those are your best allies. I usually recommend between 2,000 and 4,000 IU of vitamin D3, depending on your blood levels. But for most men, that range is safe and effective. Think of it like charging your phone. If you plug it in halfway, you only get half a charge. Taking vitamin D3 with fat, is what ensures a full charge for your testosterone machinery. Step 2. About 2 hours before bed, take zinc. Not with milk, not with coffee, not with alcohol. Just plain water. Zinc is easily blocked by calcium and caffeine, so timing here is everything. For most men, the sweet spot is 15 to 30 milligrams. Less than that, and you may not notice much. More than that, and you risk stomach upset or messing with your copper balance. Around 20 milligrams hits the mark for the majority of my patients. Zinc is like the spark plug without it. Your brain's signal to produce testosterone never catches fire. And that's it. Just 2 steps. Simple, precise, and powerful. Now, what should you expect? In the first week, most men feel subtle changes. Slightly more energy, a little more drive. By weeks 3 to 6, stamina improves, firmness returns, and mornings feel different. By 3 months, many men tell me it feels like they've turned back the clock. I've had men in their late 70s call me, their voices cracking, saying, "Doctor, I thought I was done, but I'm not." Of course, consistency is key. This isn't something you try for 3 nights and quit. Your body rebuilds itself day by day, and the real magic comes when you stay the course. And here's the exciting part. This simple 2-step protocol is powerful on its own, but when you combine it with a few small lifestyle shifts, the results multiply. Let me show you how men unlock even greater changes when they align their daily habits with their nightly routine. I tell my patients all the time supplements are powerful, but they are not magic on their own. Think of vitamin D3 and zinc as the foundation of a house. They lay the concrete, but what you build on top, that's what determines how strong, how long-lasting, and how comfortable your life will be. And the good news is, you don't need drastic changes to multiply the results. A few simple lifestyle shifts can turn good progress into life-changing progress. The first shift is sleep. I know it sounds obvious, but most men underestimate how critical deep sleep is for testosterone and circulation. Your body pulses out the majority of testosterone between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. If you're staying up late, scrolling on your phone, or tossing back a nightcap, you're literally robbing your body of its natural hormone window. One study published in JAMA found that men who cut their sleep from 8 hours to 5 hours dropped their testosterone levels by as much as 15% in just 1 week. That's like aging a decade overnight. Fixing sleep is free, and it supercharges the protocol. The second shift is cutting back on sugar and alcohol. I'm not asking you to live like a monk, but here's the truth. Sugar spikes your insulin, which blunts testosterone production. Alcohol may relax you in the moment, but it damages sleep cycles and lowers nitric oxide. I had one patient in his late 60s who cut his nightly 2 beers down to just 1 on weekends. Within a month, his morning energy returned, and his wife told me with a grin, "Whatever you told him, keep it up." The third shift is movement. Notice I didn't say, hit the gym. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. You just need consistent movement, brisk walking, light weights, yard work, even climbing the stairs instead of the elevator. Research from Harvard shows that men who perform resistance exercise just twice a week maintain higher testosterone and stronger erections than sedentary men. Movement primes your blood vessels, strengthens your nerves, and signals your body that you're still in the game. When you combine these shifts with the nighttime protocol, something powerful happens. It's not just your performance that improves. You stand taller, your energy shows up in conversations, your confidence radiates into every part of your life. Wives notice, partners notice, even coworkers notice, and men tell me, "Doctor, it feels like I'm myself again." Now imagine where you could be 3 months from today if you started tonight, more energy, more confidence, and mornings that remind you of decades past. That's not a fantasy. That's your biology waiting to be unlocked. And in the conclusion, I'll tie everything together and leave you with a clear, simple challenge that could change the next 30 days of your life. Gentlemen, let's bring everything together. Tonight, you've learned that magnesium, while useful for relaxation, is not the key to restoring manhood. The real story is deeper and far more hopeful. Weakness in the bedroom is not just about aging. It is a signal that your circulation, your hormones, and your nerves are out of balance. And the two nutrients your body desperately needs, vitamin D3 and zinc, are often the very ones missing. Here's the truth. When you take vitamin D3 with dinner, you give your body the hormone-like spark it needs to prime testosterone production. When you take zinc 2 hours before bed with plain water, you flip the ignition switch that allows your body to actually make testosterone. Together, they restore nitric oxide support nerve signals and fuel the very rhythm of repair that happens while you sleep. And when you add simple lifestyle shifts, better sleep, less sugar and alcohol, more daily movement, the effect multiplies. I've seen it firsthand. Men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who thought that chapter of life was over, find themselves waking up with energy and confidence again. Wives tell me, "Thank you for giving me my husband back." And more importantly, men tell me, "Thank you for giving me myself back." This isn't about vanity. It's about dignity, vitality, and the strength to keep living fully. Now, here's my challenge to you. Commit to 30 days. Follow the protocol exactly. Vitamin D3 with dinner zinc 2 hours before bed. Nothing else at night but water. Protect your sleep, cut back a little on sugar and alcohol, move your body. Then watch what happens. Pay attention to your mornings, your energy, your confidence. I believe you'll be surprised by how much can change in just a few short weeks. Because age is not the enemy. Deficiency is. And when you fix the deficiency, your body remembers how to perform. You are not broken. You are not finished. You simply need the right tools used at the right time. So, let me leave you with this take action tonight. Don't wait until another year passes and you feel even further from the man you want to be. The science is clear, the steps are simple, and the results are within reach. If this message spoke to you, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss future strategies for men's health and vitality. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever tried taking supplements at night for your energy or performance? Yes or no? Your answer might encourage another man who's feeling the same doubts you once did. Because in the end, the knowledge you share today could be the spark that changes someone else's tomorrow.